Jonathan, so you said I want to talk a little bit about magic, and you said that adding support magic was something that you were really excited about, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
How did that? Do you remember the early discussions when it came to when somebody, Richard or somebody, said we're going to have magic in the game? Or was that something? Was that a recent development, or is that something that is Richard or others, maybe Robin, have been thinking about for a while? This video is sponsored by Gportal. They host all of my servers, and I have to say they are pretty awesome. You can save 10% with my link in the description.
I mean, I think it's been around for a very long time. I'm not even sure when, because I mean, as far as I know, I think Richard thought about it like even before any of us joined the team, probably. But I can't say that for sure. I just know that it's kind of always been there. Like everybody think, yeah, it would be nice to add magic, but let's focus on this part for now.
Yeah.
Let's not make everything at once. Also, adding it later into the game rather than having it as an option from the beginning, I think is kind of an interesting choice, because it's different from all other games where you're just like, oh, do I want to play a fighter? Or do I want to play a mage?
Yeah.
So it's more like you have to go through you have to be an actual, say, normal Viking for a while, and then you can choose to become a mage, kind of, if you want to. So, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that's been around for a long time. Something that we wanted to add, and there's like been tons and tons of suggestions. People are like, add magic to the game. You have this one camp, and then you have the other camp like, no, don't do it. So yeah, I don't know, like so far we haven't had that much negativity about it. Like most people are very excited about it, but I'm sure there's some people who might not think that it's well placed. But
I see all the YouTube comments that I get on my videos, and have been a few people who said, you've added magic to a Viking game, great. And I just respond, well, there's a lot of magic and fantasy elements in this game. It's not like a realistic, based on Earth Viking era. This is Valheim. This is the 10th realm. There's magic in the world,
right.
and
yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on, just like
there's always going to be that guy, though. I mean, whatever game you make, even if you make like and simulated that it's basically 1-to-1 to everything, there's going to be somebody that finds something like, nope, the atoms aren't aligned correctly in this game.
When it's like you said, it's usually the most passionate, the loudest voices that rise to the surface, and those are the ones you hear from because they make their opinion known, as where most of the population probably doesn't feel the same, or at least are not passionate enough against it to, jump on somewhere and voice their opinion. But so getting to the magic, so the Dwerger have basically fire, ice, and the support healer, and he has some kind of damaging attacks too. But for the players, there's elemental magic, which I guess is sort of like both fire and ice, right?
Yeah.
And then the blood magic. Now, when I saw the blood magic, I don't know if I did a reaction trailer the day you guys dropped the Mistlands trailer. And I didn't even notice it the first time through because it was just such a quick cut. But I went back and I just remember my jaw hanging open. And because it's like a darker side of Valheim. And I'm really excited to try it because for years and years and years in World of Warcraft, I played a warlock. It was my first character. And I just got into the whole spirit of raising the dead and capturing souls and stuff like that. So that blood magic, was that were there any specific challenges to that blood magic? Because it's really a different mechanic, whereas the other ones, it seems a little bit more straightforward. They're casting a spell, sort of like launching a ranged weapon, but the blood magic is now summoning creatures that follow you around. Following creatures that follow you around have been problems in a lot of games, right? Because they get hung up on stuff. I know a lot of games, their solution was to just have them teleport to you every once in a while. How is it with the skeletons now? Are there a lot of problems with them keeping up to you? What happens if I get on a ship and sail? Do they just get left behind? Do they teleport to me eventually?
Yeah, so I mean, it's like you say, it's definitely not something that we had before. So there was quite a few technical parts to get them to work as expected. And it's probably not perfect. Like, to be honest, like I was actually trying right before this podcast, we had I do have a kind of big-ish exploit you can use with them that I'm trying to fix. That will not make it to this patch, but I guess the next one.
Well, if you tell us, we can test it for you.
Yeah, I mean, sure, why not? I mean, it's out there anyway. So it's basically that, so one of the challenges, for example, one of the technical parts is that, okay, here again, it's a bit technical, but like you have to, like the skeleton needs to spawn. It needs to change attributes based on your skill and your item level, which is not something that we've done for other things.
Oh, wow.
And it also needs to be saved, and it also needs to follow you and attack other creatures and stuff.
So it gets saved when you log out. So when you log back in, it's still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then it should keep following you. So the exploit is basically if you log out and log back in again, they will follow you, but they don't count towards your maximum number of skeletons. So you can keep spawning in more and then log out and log in again. So, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So enjoy your 500 skeletons now and break and crash your computer if you want to. But
right.
Yeah, that will
Build me an army worthy of Mordor.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, in the beginning too, we didn't really decide, okay, how many are you going to get to spawn? Like, so in the beginning, we had like a lot of skeletons, and it's just really fun to have a little army running around. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other things too, like just how they work in the world, like when you spawn them, where do they spawn? Like if you're standing in a dungeon, or if you're in a certain location where like there's no obvious point of where it should raise, things like that. But at the same time, they're not like if you say in another game where you have a helper who is like a person who you want to behave completely natural, always follow you. You don't want them to teleport, which is kind of weird, immersion breaking and stuff. Like these skeletons aren't the smartest skeletons in the universe, and they will probably get stuck in some places. Like they will try to find their way, but there's places where they can't get to. So then they'll just be like, "Hey, dude, I can't follow you around." So you can just make new ones too.
In the trailer, we see 3 skeletons, but what is the intended maximum of skeletons that we're allowed to summon?
I mean, currently it's based on your item skill level. Okay. And you can currently only upgrade the Mistlands items to level 2. So that makes it to 2 skeletons. But, I mean, all of our other biomes, you can upgrade items more, which is also something that we will probably be doing. And at that point, you could probably have more. But we'll have to balance it and tweak it. If it ends up like, okay, these are too strong now, all of a sudden you could have, like, say, if you have a level 4 and you have 4 skeletons, maybe they get too strong. It's also a little bit difficult to balance them because, like, for example, now in theory, you could spawn your skeletons, change out all your gear, and then be a fighter again. But you'd have to eat the Aether food to be able to spawn your skeletons. So you might not have your stamina health food. Or you like puke berries and like eat everything and like reset so you could kind of like swap between these, and there's probably ways to exploit it, and it's kind of a difficult thing to balance out completely. So yeah, we'll just see how players use them and how it works, and then we might have to rework.
Question in there: Do we need to balance everything?
Yes, to some degree. He just told us you can have 100 skeletons, Tolkas.
Yeah, exactly. Why balance? It's just I notice sometimes with game developers, in order to balance things, it's just sometimes takes the fun out of the game. Like I had it before with another guy in chat. We were talking about in Skyrim, the sneaky bow build. You could just hide somewhere kilometers away, shoot someone, and basically one-shot them.
That's
not balanced at all. But
where's the challenge? If you have an army of 100 skeletons, where's the challenge if you're just standing there and they're attacking
imagine
everything?
People sometimes just want to have fun.
Yeah. That's when you use mods, Tolkas, and you put all that stuff in.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and there's also...
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, there's also always the person who will say, oh man, you let me summon all of these skeletons, and now my computer won't run the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, or it burned out my graphics card because it's too heavy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would say like just
It's
like
all
Eric
your
said, like
fault.
yeah, exactly. I mean, if you really want to do it, you can always use cheats or mods or whatever. But I mean, at the same time, I think it's worse if your game is so unbalanced that people play it and just feel like, oh, this is a broken mechanic. If I do this, then I just win. They kind of lose the whole immersion and challenge of the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot worse than just like not allowing you to do things. So it's not like we want to take away the fun. It's more like we don't want it to make like one solution is the go-to one, because then you kind of invalidate all the other options. Like, why would you ever make anything else if you just like, oh, there's a monster, throw 50 skeletons at him and keep walking.
Well, yeah, that's what we do as content creators with mods to make fun videos, like 3 bone masses versus, 100 boar. And then we put that video out there, just to kind of see what happens. But getting back to the skeletons, because it's like one of the most unique, new mechanics for the players specifically. Will those skeletons, will they portal with you?
I think they don't right now. Don't they? I don't think so. I think they work pretty much like, okay, so basically they work very similar to a tamed creature.
Okay.
So
like
at
puppies?
the moment, like what?
Like the wolves.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we were kind of discussing this too. Like, okay, should they follow you through the portal? And then it was like, okay, are we going to follow? Are all the tameable creatures going to follow you through the portal then, or like, is this something we really want to change right now or not? So at the moment, they don't. But yeah, you never know. Maybe they will in the future.
So when you go into a dungeon, that's basically like a portal mechanic. Will they enter a dungeon with you? Or if you want to use them in a dungeon, do you have to summon them in the dungeon?
Yeah, I think you have to summon them. I mean, it's basically a portal. I'm a bit unsure about that, actually. Because it seemed like I might have made a fix for it, and then I realized, like, okay, no, we don't want to change this. So I don't think they follow you into the dungeon.
So something to test. So you're limited to a certain amount of skeletons, well, supposedly, right? Because you have the exploit of logging in and logging out. But if I stay in game, I summon my skeletons, I get on a boat and I sail away, or I go through a portal, I go into a dungeon. Am I still limited to them, to the 2 that exist because they're in the world, or is there a certain range?
You can always spawn new ones. They will just kill the oldest one.
Oh, it will kill the oldest ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember. Okay, so this is when I played, like when I was a kid and I got Diablo 2, or maybe it was Diablo. No, I don't think there was summons in Diablo 1, right? Okay. Anyway, I was playing Diablo 2 and I was super excited, and I was like, okay, I'm a necromancer. I'm so cool, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this golem. And I didn't realize, maybe it said somewhere there's a limit to them or not. I don't know. But I was just like, okay, I'm just going to spawn in so many of these golems. And I just like, wasted my whole mana. Because I could see them like popping up everywhere. But you kind of didn't really see them fall apart into this like...
so each new one killed the previous one. And you thought you were going to have a whole bunch.
I think I spawned 20 or 25 of them before I realized, like, oh, I'm just allowed to have one. That's boring. Like, what? I'm a necromancer. Why can't they all live? So,
Volkus's eyes tell you everything. See, I told you.
He's like, I got mana to summon more. I should have more.
Yeah, exactly. But you also have to think about, like, okay, so you will highly likely be able to have more than 2 because you will probably be able to upgrade the staff at some point.
Yeah.
And who knows about other magic stuff as well. But at the same time, if you think like, okay, if you're 10 players and everybody decides to be necromancers and you have 4 skeletons each, that's already like, say, 40 skeletons, 10 players, and then the boss and a bunch of minions and stuff. So that's already kind of pressing the limits of what your network will want to be able to handle.
And I just want to take a quick break from the show to share with you one of my sponsors, the Grimfrost, an amazing company that sells really, really cool Viking products. They have over 1,000 different modern and historical Viking products. If you're interested, you should check them out. I have a link in the description, or you can go to my website, jiroctheviking.com/Grimfrost.